Alrighty, y'all. Hello and welcome back to a fun video. Finally getting back into big trucks with this one, heavy duty machinery. In this case, it's a military vehicle. I believe it's a British vehicle. This comes to us from a suggestion through the comments on a previous video from Neil Morrison. So thank you so much. This is from a video from a couple months ago. And he says to look at the, indeed, the British Army 5-ton amphibious truck called Alvis Stalwart, I believe. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But I've taken a look at old, military vehicles and heavy-duty machinery from Europe before. It's always a pleasure and usually awesome stuff. So I expect this to be pretty awesome as well. Let's get into it. These will all be linked down below so you can check these videos out in their channels. Turn it up. It is up. Oh, okay, great first impression. Whoa. It does have the British flag, indeed. This is 6x6, it looks like. Now it has a cool look. It looks, obviously it's extremely heavy duty. This is a real deal machine. Now, it does have a kind of an odd appearance at first, just because you would think, maybe before knowing it's amphibious, you might think, whoa, why are the wheels like so kind of close together and the overhang front and rear's a little more? But then, of course, as you learn that this is amphibious, I think that would be the reason why. It looks like it has a lot of room, though, in this kind of cargo area. I'm sure they've used it for maybe carrying troops and, of course, different attachments. Maybe like some sort of a crane or weapons, or I'm sure you can do a lot with this. Big tires on this thing. Wow. Yeah, these sound so good. I can't wait to look at the specs on this. We'll learn about it later. Oh, that sounds so good. Is this right? According to the description, it's a Rolls-Royce engine? Let's hear it again. Okay, it sounds amazing. It sounds freaking awesome. So did the last one. The last one almost sounded like it was maybe a petrol engine. Doesn't it? Now, I suppose, like a lot of heavy machinery, this could be equipped with different engines, I suppose. So, like always, I learn a lot from you guys. Maybe you could sort some of this out in the comments if we don't end up finding some answers. I've been off-roading a lot, and that sounds like the roar of a gas V8, right? Or a petrol V8. It sounds good. I love both petrol and diesel. I think that sounds awesome. Admittedly, this one sounds completely different. And it also sounds awesome. Yeah, that is 1,000,000% diesel. Look at the black smoke. I like both. Although I just gotta give some respect and the edge to the diesel here. That thing sounds insane. It also looks really good in the desert sand color. Let's hear what this one sounds like. These things are pretty awesome, dude. They look very capable. Now that one sounds different again. It kind of does sound like a diesel again, though. These things are awesome. I bet these can go through some pretty insane terrain because they're heavy, but they look like the way they are engineered, right? All the weight kind of comes down over the 3 axles here. I imagine these can get on pretty good in some really rough stuff. Here's a walk-around of one, so we can get a little closer look. This thing is awesome, dude. Yeah, humongous tires. Damn. I wonder where the engine is. The engine tucked in somewhere in this kind of This, what would you even call this? I guess this would be like the frame, right? And it's just all bolted up. It's all enclosed, rather. Or perhaps the engine's in back? Snuck in there somewhere? Because the exhaust was out the back. And what era is this? This has got to be... It doesn't say in the suggestion. I'm imagining this is 50s or 60s, maybe? Or is that too old? I definitely don't think it's like World War II era. I think it's a little newer than that. I would guess 60s. There's the Alvis logo. That's pretty cool. Alvis with the like red triangle. Interesting. Damn, that is a... Remember, I'm a weirdo. That is a sharp vehicle. I freaking love that. I'm the kind of guy where I would be just as excited if someone, you know, threw me the keys to a Lamborghini and said, go have fun for a few minutes. I'd be filled with joy. I'd be ecstatic. I'd also be maybe even more excited if someone threw me the keys to this. Right? Like, this excites me just as much as, you know, crazy hypercars. This is freaking awesome. When it comes to machinery like this, although I wouldn't necessarily know if I could take this for a drive by myself, because a lot of these trucks are pretty wild, like pretty bare bones inside, and there might be a lot of, you know, gear sticks and levers and controls that are pretty different than your normal everyday commuter car. And I might not even know how to drive this properly. Damn, that thing is a beast. Wonder how much this thing weighs. Here's another footage of some off-roading. God, that sounds incredible. What is this thing? I love looking at off-roading in different countries, man. Look at that. Sorry to depart from the subject of the video, but that thing was cool. It's like a little truck. Wow, you know, this thing is serious business. Right there. Remember, off-roading, some people might not realize how impressive that really was. I just made it up that. That was very vertical, and this looks like it's definitely wet, the ground. Not easy to get a heavy machine up that kind of incline. It does say petrol engine. Wow, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not a diesel. Sounds like it. Dude, that thing is freaking awesome! Wow. These seem like they're kind of rare, right? Is that true that less than a couple thousand of these were built? Jeez, I did not, or I would have not have guessed that. That thing sounds freaking awesome. Wowza. Look at that thing go. Do all the wheels steer? I didn't even notice that. Or is it like a skid steer type? I will be impressed thoroughly if it makes it up this, because look at how wet and clay filled it's that mud clay mixture. That is hard work getting up that. That just cakes up the tires. Whoa, look at that. Is that an old Land Rover? Dude, these things are awesome, man. I don't ever get to see these barely at all here in the States. Unless you're at a dedicated like Land Rover club or something, you're not seeing these out in the wild here nearly as much as you would see over in Europe, I'm sure. Look at that thing barrel through anything. What a machine, dude. I love the sound of it. Love the look of it. I'm starting to like it a lot. Look at this. Got the hatches open. Got a military sunroof. Even has a sunroof. Which, by the way, I've had people I think in the past I've had to laugh at the way I say that. I don't know why. It is, I think, due to a Chicago region or Midwest United States accent. The way we say certain words is a little bizarre, even compared to some other people in the U.S. But everyone around here says sunroof. But I think other people might say sunroof, which does make sense. I'm not arguing that. Like booth has 2 O's in it, so it's booth, not booth, right? Obviously, roof should sound like roof, but for some reason, I say sunroof. I'm assuming people who would be speaking English anywhere, if you know English in Europe, you probably wouldn't say it like me, but perhaps maybe you do. Go ahead and roast me in the comments. It's okay. It wouldn't be the first time. Yeah, I want one of these. Add it to the list of heavy machinery that Ian wants for no reason. If I ever win the lottery, I'm just going to splurge a little bit. I don't need, millions and billions of dollars, but if I ever had a few million to burn, big warehouse, big property, some big trucks like this parked in it, yes, you can come over and take it for a ride. Hell yeah. Here we go. Let's get some water action. This thing is amphibious, I hear. That's not enough. Hold on, we'll find more. Here we go. Here's some real water. Taking it straight to the boat launch. Beautiful mountains in the background, rather. I don't know where we're at, but this is a very pretty area. Look at that. Now, we just saw this thing. Wow. We just saw this thing going through some pretty awesome off-road clips. I've had some pretty good off-road trucks in my day, but I'll admit, I've never had anything that could go off-road and just pull into the lake. That thing is awesome. This one is in Sweden. Little test drive. Okay, this is always good when you can kind of see reference points. So seeing a vehicle like this in a parking lot is actually satisfying because you can see compared to everyday vehicles or even this cool looking SUV here that looks like sort of military-like or at least off-road capable. This thing just towers above, right? Look at how big this thing is. Look at the clearance, right? The construction of this thing is awesome. It actually looks really intimidating from this angle. And I also like how it's got that kind of the tires that don't sit straight up and down. They kind of have that positive camber look to them. I've usually only seen Tatras sit like that. So that's pretty cool to see another vehicle that has that approach. Maybe a similar construction method. I'm not exactly sure. But this thing is awesome. It's all the way up. Damn, what a beast. Look at that thing. Wow. This might be my favorite one yet. Just the really dark military green and black. Thing looks so mean. Here we go. You know how weird that is? That goes against all your instincts. At least for me, it'd be so weird even if I'm in this vehicle. Just driving straight into water, right? That goes like against your survival instinct. It's not something you would normally do. It always amazes me, amphibious vehicles. Like, how do they make a vehicle that where all the, the axles and differentials and engines are sealed good enough to be like straight up in water and fully operate like that? Right? And it could go in water and actually drive still, right? You can hit the throttle and it goes somewhere. It's kind of crazy. There it goes. I wonder how is this to control? Like, how easy is it, or is it pretty difficult? I imagine it's probably difficult. And obviously different than a conventional actual boat, right? This is insane. Wow, it actually really goes. Once I hit the throttle like he just did there it goes. It actually might drive pretty damn good in the water. Like a boat. Wow. Hear that thing? Sounds so good. And look at it pull right back up. Just like that. Just went for a quick swim. We're back now. Look at this. Oh, hell yeah. Let's go, baby. Damn. On board? Let's go. Look at this. That'd be so fun to ride in this thing. Look at the controls in there. Oh, look at this. What kind of... Whoa, what do we got there? Oh, look at that. Center-mounted driving position. Interesting. Yeah. Like I said earlier, I definitely wouldn't be able to just hop in here and drive it. You would need a tutorial. You would definitely need to learn how to drive a vehicle like this. Wow. That is awesome. It gets cruising. It gets out of its own way pretty freaking good, I'd say, in the water. I wonder if that speed is in knots there or what. Looked like about 9 or 10 knots, I'm imagining. That'd be freaky driving through under this bridge. Jeez. This guy is braver than I. And good news, they made it. Look at that, pretty clean pass. It's so weird looking down and seeing a truck and windows and mirrors. Like, what the hell? That is so cool, dude. I haven't looked at any amphibious vehicles in a while. All right, and finally, if we take a look at the good old wiki on this vehicle, this one is like in a German, livery, painted by a German enthusiast. Pretty cool look at one. What a cool vehicle, right? In the camouflage. Has a great stance. Oh yeah, look at that old one. Holy smokes, that's cool. Very first Alvis project vehicle for a 5-ton off-road truck, also known as the Beast. No way. What a fitting name. That's the vibe I get from it as well. I love looking at these old pictures. How cool, seeing the different kind of versions or stages it went through. Yeah, that is cool. Add this to the bucket list of vehicles to see at some point. I don't know how, but I'll try. That is awesome. Look at it in red. Rescue vehicle. Oof, look at that one. Rough. Needs some restoration. This one's beat up, rusty. This one is at the Jaseta Museum in Thailand, formerly of Bangkok International Airport. I love it in red. That thing looks exceptional in red. It really kind of looks good, and it looks different in all the different configurations and colors, but it kind of wears them all well. It's a British Army truck high mobility load carrier, 5-ton, 6x6, informally known by servicemen as the Stali. Okay. Highly mobile amphibious military truck by Alvis Cars. Wow, I'll have to learn more about them at another time. Are they still a thing? Look, they made a lot of different vehicles. No kidding. It really does say that the engine choice would have been a Rolls-Royce B81, 8-cylinder water-cooled 6.5-liter petrol engine. So I don't know why some of those sounded like diesels. They could have been swapped, I suppose. Or maybe that's just such a beastly gasoline engine that it almost sounds like a diesel. I mean, that could be possible as well. I really don't know, but it's freaking cool. Independent torsion bars on 6x6 wheels. I believe that is similar to how a Tatra 6x6 say would be constructed. That's very cool. Maximum speed of 64 kilometers per hour or 40 miles per hour. Has a pretty good range for a big truck, I'd say. Anyway, I'm not going to read through this all. I definitely will off camera, though. I was asking about the frame. It's a frameless vehicle, really. So it's all welded, waterproof hull. I should have perhaps thought of that in my head. I guess I'm not an expert on amphibious vehicles. Go figure. So it's all welded, waterproof hull. That's very interesting. And it forms a punt chassis. Okay, so the engine is located under the load deck in the rear of the hull. So kind of like my second guess then. And then the gearbox and transfer box and differential are forward of it. Oh, that's pretty odd. The load deck and open topped with large drop-down panels on either side and rear. Waterproof seals ensure that these will not leak when in the water. The cab is the driver's position in the center, which we just noticed at the end there. The seat for a passenger on the left side or the right side. The cab can only be entered through the roof hatches. Oh, wow, I didn't even notice that. So there's no side door to get in? The dropping side windows are emergency escape hatches. Okay. It could carry 5 tons, and it could tow 10 tons. That's pretty insane. Wow, this thing is definitely beyond heavy duty. In the water, it could be driven at about 6 knots by vectored thrust water jet propulsion units. That's awesome. Holy smokes, this thing is very capable in any terrain, literally. There's some specifications if you want to pause and read those. That's pretty freaking cool. Here are some of the other variations. You had a project vehicle known as the private venture, chassis number PV. There were 15 PVs with the destination shown on Alvis letter of sales numbers. Look at that. So that's more of like a... Yeah, you can see it's totally different. It looks more like a pickup truck. This one looks pretty insane as well. And then here were some military operators that used this. United Kingdom, naturally. We even had the Swedish coastal artillery. We had Germany, Austria, Italy, and Sri Lanka. Civil operators included France, South Korea, Thailand, and the UK again. Interesting. In popular culture, they've been on different TV shows and movies. No kidding. What? An Alvis Stalwart FV622 was used in Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life? No way. That is awesome. I haven't played all these. Or is that a movie? Is that one of the movies or is it one of the games? It's one of the movies. Okay. I'll have to check that out. That's pretty cool. And finally, just some final images. One last look. Look at that thing. Look at that one. That is really, really cool. I love seeing some of the different camouflage patterns on there. They look so sharp and red, too. Great rescue vehicles, I would imagine. Well, that was a pleasure. It's been way too long since I've gotten to look at some machinery like that. The Alvis Stalwart. I hope I'm saying that even halfway right. 6x6. What a beast. Cannot wait to see your comments on this one. Have you had the pleasure of maybe riding in one of these? Maybe you drove one of these. Just another case of awesome trucks and heavy equipment coming out of the European region. How freaking cool. I love learning about this stuff. Hope you enjoyed this. I appreciate you watching, and suggestions like this are how this is possible, so keep those up. I really do appreciate it. You guys do an awesome job at that. Yeah, hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Hope your day is great. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all, stay safe out there. I'll catch you later.